Like, share, and subscribe. Time circuits. Activate. Broadcasting live from the Timeship Paradox. This is the Timeship Paradox Podcast, featuring your host, Josh from Earth.
Greetings, travelers across time and space. I'm Josh from Earth, and this is the Timeship Paradox Podcast. And with me today is my co-host, Squatch the Sasquatch from the Pacific Northwest, now living in the tech heart of Texas. Say hello, Squatch.
Bridging the tech redneck divide. How you doing?
That's right. So today's going to be a good show. This is our inaugural launch, episode 000, as they say, of the podcast. And we're going to do this as a test run and see where it goes and talk about anything and everything. But today I'm hoping we can cover some things. I know you said you wanted to talk about your Steam game library, what's been going on, and the controversy with Visa and Mastercard and the payment systems. There's some things going on in the WNBA, which is pretty interesting. I know down there in Texas, you mentioned they had that legislature walkout. And apparently there's some new news from Doge about big balls. I know you remember big balls back when Elon Musk was running the government, as they say. But yeah, Steam. Tell me about the Steam games and things you've been playing lately.
I'm trying to make my way through the Dark Souls series, going through the DLC of Dark Souls 2. Other than that, some stuff with the Squatchlings. They're really into Risk of Rain 2 these days.
Those are all good. And a lot of people love those Dark Souls games. It reminds me of the times when, like, the old school, like, NES games, that super hard, like Ninja Gaiden or whatever, where it's like you just
Totally.
The only way you can get better is just by playing it and bang your head against the wall until you figure out how to beat the bosses. So.
Yep. Patience, young one. Try again.
That's cool. Well, why don't you tell us about your library and what you got stored up?
I was looking at like everything that I played for over an hour. Like, it is overwhelmingly Souls games these days because that's just what I've been focusing on. But crud, now I can't even find it. It's embarrassing because, like, the second game is Helldivers 2 with 200 hours.
Oh, that's
pretty respectable.
2024 game of the year.
Yep, and then there's Final Fantasy 14 with 5,577 hours.
Oh, that doesn't count as a game. That's more of a second job or a second life.
That doesn't count as a game.
No. No, that's a city loitering simulator. That's what that is.
Congratulations, you live here.
Uh-huh.
Other than that, I got American Truck Simulator 35 hours, which actually seems kind of high. I don't remember playing it that long.
Not bad.
That's not bad. Although, considering how old my Steam library is, you'd think there would be more. I don't know. It's weird. Because I don't really have that many games in my Steam library that have more than 60 minutes played.
Well, give me your top 10.
Let's see here. Top is Final Fantasy 14, then Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2 is not at 200. It's 111. And then Dark Souls at 103. Dark Souls 2 at 76. And then the Final Fantasy 14 demo at 37 hours. I was messing around with the body on a free account. And then American Truck Simulator at 35. South Park Stick of Truth at 12. Elden Ring at 10. Dark Souls 3 at 9. And No Man's Sky at 6.
Your interests are all over the place.
8. And I've only got 8 more games that are over 60 minutes, and that's Lords of the Fallen, Kingdom Come Deliverance, Jackbox Survey Scramble at 3 hours. That was fun. Risk of Rain 2, and all of that is played with, the little squatches. No Rest for the Wicked, Space Marine 2, Repo, and Redout. That's it. Like, you'd think, like, I have had this since, I don't know, when was Steam a thing? Like, around 2000 when I got my Steam account, shortly afterwards.
I think it started in around 2003, 04. I think. I don't know. Let's take a look. Let's ask the hive mind.
I just remember I signed up and, like, my first games were, just importing my licenses for Half-Life.
Mm-hmm. Dear Grok, when did Steam launch? And it's thinking September 12th, 2003.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's 20 years of being the Walmart of streamed video games, I guess, online.
I am silly. I was filtering based on what was installed.
Oh, you weren't even looking at the stuff. the stuff
Right.
four
I didn't
times.
realize that affected like hours played. Oh man, it looks wildly different now.
Well, what are some new standouts that showed up in the top of the list?
Dungeon Defenders for 330 hours.
Oh yeah, I remember when you were going through that kick for a while. I remember that.
Fun game, right? Like tower defense and progression and run around and shoot stuff with wizards.
Mm-hmm.
There's Darksiders, some Borderlands, some Final Fantasy, others. Oh, I've got almost 20 hours in Elite Dangerous. I barely remember playing that game.
That was a good one. Did you hear about the credit card stuff? How they're
The credit card.
with the Visa and Mastercard, and
the payment processing.
They're forcing Steam to take off a lot of their titles, and apparently that's cascading out to other services or something. And
itch.io, and I think one called Zoom, by that group in Australia, Collective Shout, which now, of course, they're doing the typical thing of you disagree with us, therefore you're a hate-mongering, misogynist bigot, and screaming that, they go out into the internet and kick the hive nest, the hive that is gamers, and start getting lashback, start getting attacked back. They're starting to get stung, and they're freaking out about it.
It's kind of weird how like a financial banking institution, payment institution, whatever. It's like that how they have the power to just tell people what they can and can't do with their dollars, and they're not really like a government entity. Like I know that this past week there was a lot of talk with the like the EBTs and the snaps where they're not going to allow soda anymore or like sugary candies or things to be purchased with the food stamp monies. So that one thing that's government, I could see that restricting, but when it's like a financial payment institution or credit cards, that's kind of strange for them to start regulating what people can or can't do,
Well, yeah, totally. And it also feels like it opens themselves up for a lot of liability as far as like, okay, well, you're going to refuse to let people to purchase things using your platform. Okay, that must mean that you're responsible for everything that's purchased with your platform. So anytime anybody does wrong, right now because what is it, the Section 230 protections for like social media and such?
Mm-hmm.
They want to have all the protections afforded of being a platform, but they don't want to be a publisher, right? Because then when you're a publisher, then you're responsible for what you're publishing,
right?
But when you're a platform, it's just the users are responsible for. And I feel like the payment processors are opening that same can of worms, and I hope they get sued into oblivion over it, because they can't expect protection and choose what people get to use their system.
Would that open them to like, oh no, this guy bought a gun, or this guy bought a knife, or this guy bought a vehicle and used it in an attack or something? Like, would the same logic hold up that, hey, they're allowing these purchases and they want to be responsible, maybe we can sue them as well because they were part of these horrendous things?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they go back to just being a neutral money system that anyone can use for whatever legal stuff people want to do, and then just the money will flow.
Well, they it's interesting watching their public statements about it too, because they're just literally lying. Somebody's lying, right? Because MasterCard put out a statement saying we don't make these decisions, and then like Steam and Zoom and itch.io are all putting out pressure from our payment processors, Visa and Mastercard and PayPal. Like somebody's lying.
Do you think the business suits at the top know what's going on, or are they just kind of responding knee jerk to, oh no, someone's screeching, so let's stop it?
I think that's what started it, because Collective Shout, they just got about, I don't know, a few dozen Karens to be loud and obnoxious to the leadership, and so they bowed down to them, and now they basically have pissed off the entire internet. And their phone lines, from what I understand, are just absolutely slammed every day with people calling up and letting them know that they don't appreciate what they're doing.
Well, hopefully
so much so that there's like, there's been a lot of reaction from Visa and MasterCard and their customer service support. That apparently people are getting to the point where they'll call them up and then they'll get yelled at by the customer service agents.
they're getting fed up of all the people nonstop calling them.
Yeah. Keep the pressure on. Keep those phone lines ringing. Keep them and the hope is that you make a big enough stink that you actually create a dent in their business, right? Because when you start flooding their phone lines, then legitimate people with legitimate concerns aren't able to get through.
And we've all
The
had to
problem
sit through
is
those
they basically
20
have a
hours
duopoly,
wait. Yeah.
right? So where else are people going to go?
Yeah. Well,
Who knows? Maybe okay, so bear with me here. You know the microloan stuff that's popped up all over the internet over the last couple of years? Like you could buy this $50 thing for $10 a month for 6 months or whatever.
oh yeah, like you put a burrito on not layaway, but you're basically financing your food.
Idea. But let's ignore that for now.
Okay.
Some time ago, the Second Amendment community came up with their own solution to that because none of those microloan people would support like ammunition or firearms or anything. And so they came up with their own and started kind of developing a secondary economy with it through this other processor that would provide loans. So now you can purchase that, $3,000 Geisley AR-15 that you've been dreaming for how long? Get it on credit. Again, ignoring how terrible of an idea this is, but the community saw a need and came together and created something. I don't even know if you could do something like that at the scale of MasterCard and Visa, but I feel like something like this could be a spark that starts it.
Well, do you think anybody could come along and like provide like alternative like financing options? Like someone's got to say, hey, there's money to be made here, right?
Right, exactly. They're creating opportunity for somebody else to step in. But I don't know, because it's Visa and MasterCard all over the world, basically. And that's a massive network to build out. How does a new player even get their foot in that? I don't know. I'm no expert in that field. Yeah. What do I know? I just live in the woods.
Well, speaking of living in the woods, there's been a lot of anger with the WNBA lately. And I know earlier you were telling me a story. What was happening at one of the games?
Well, they're apparently starting to change their policies and instituting no bags at all. Like,
so you can't bring it. It's like the airport. You can't bring anything on board when you go watch a WNBA game now.
Well, I mean, airport, you have carry-on. This is zero carry-on, right? Like, okay, so last time I was at a sporting event or some sort of big arena, right? There was a limit to the size of the bag that, like my wife could bring, Mrs. Squatch, and it had to be a transparent bag so they could see everything that was in it. Apparently, that is not stopping people from bringing in green toys and tossing them on the court. And so now they're just like no bags whatsoever. So you can't even bring in a purse that's clear, that used to fit the guidelines. But I find it hilarious that apparently in the betting markets, there are more people betting on what color the next object thrown onto the court is and whether or not one will be thrown onto the court in the next WNBA game than they are betting on the players or the outcome of the games themselves.
Well, see, I have a theory about all this and what's really going on. I'm taking a page from the kayfabe wrestling world of yesteryear, and this is all just drama they're drumming up. Like, especially like the stuff lately with like was it Caitlin Clark with the Indiana Fever, and everyone's just roughhousing her, and the bad calls on the court, and stupid stuff and people saying things and all the drama. From what I understand, anytime she's on, their numbers go up, right?
Yeah.
And so now that everyone's playing, toss the dildo onto the court, people are tuning in to watch this stuff, and they're not watching it for the games. They're watching it for the dramas and the fights and the people yelling and tossing stuff. And so I'm thinking this could potentially be some sort of stealth guerrilla marketing to get people to start watching and get their numbers up. Because think about it. I haven't talked about the WNBA since like it started. Right, and that was years ago. I mean, we're talking like what, about 15?
That's why they don't make any money, and they're all freaking out about how little the players are making.
But now suddenly, everyone in the universe is talking about the WNBA. So that's got to be good for revenue. They got to be seeing numbers go up because people are talking about it. They want to see what's going on.
Like a good business decision if they just kind of want to lean into it and kind of become the next WWE or whatever.
Well, I could tighten my tinfoil hat a bit more and say maybe that goes into other sports as well, but we won't go there. But I just think it's good for business, so they're either letting it ride or they may be instigating it in some cases. Is my take on it anyway.
Yeah, I could see that. I hadn't thought about that angle, but that's funny.
I know the last NBA game I ever went to was it was the SuperSonics. It was their last game. I think it was against Dallas, but that was pretty good. I saw that, and I know that actually that wasn't that your old job, Squatch the Sasquatch. I think I saw you there. You were playing drums and entertaining the crowd that night. I remember.
Fun in Seattle, and then they left, and I'm like, well, everybody's saying that the kids these days need to learn how to code, so I guess a change in career will work.
And now you're in the tech heart of Texas.
Yeah, that's right. Where did they move to? Oklahoma?
Are they the Thunder now? I don't remember. I don't watch it. I don't watch it anymore.
Right?
I don't
Now
watch
I'm
it anymore.
curious.
I don't know. But yeah, now I think it's the Thunder. I think it's Oklahoma City. What does they say? The corn grows as high as an elephant's eye. Oklahoma is okay, right? No.
I guess so. Yeah, Oklahoma City.
Yeah, but so you're down in Texas. I'm still up in the Pacific Northwest. Just curious, have you been paying attention to the Texas legislature walkout stuff that's been going on?
Oh yeah, drama.
Well, tell me what you know about that, because I woke up to the news saying that the governor was sending out the Texas Rangers to arrest all the guys who weren't showing up to work, and I just I got a picture of Chuck Norris trying to hunt down a bunch of politicians. I'm like,
Great.
we got Walker Texas Ranger over here going to be making some arrests. So what's been going on with that?
Okay, so I don't know when, but in recent months, I think the Supreme Court made a decision that has an effect on what attributes can be taken into account when you're drawing district lines for legislative purposes, right? For representations,
Right.
for representatives, right? So, we all know there's states out there like Illinois that have these absolutely ridiculously drawn lines, right?
Yeah, every time the census rolls around, they want to whoever's in charge draws the lines to make it, in their best interest to have as many seats as they can for their state.
Right. And so, like, let's say that you have a stronghold of the opposition. So if you split it up, you splinter it into different districts, right? And have just a little bit of it in each of the districts, then all of a sudden you can overwhelm each of those districts with voters and tilt everything in your favor, right?
Yeah,
Classic
so if you're on Team Blue, you draw the crayon lines around where the cities are, and you kind of include as many of the surrounding areas. And if you're on Team Red, you focus more on how can we cut up the split cities.
Right, and cut up the blue stronghold with little slices into the red so that they're overwhelmed by the red when you look at the district in aggregate.
Yeah, so it's a numbers game for population.
Right. And the thing is that there are many both sides are super guilty of this, right? And there are many states out there. And I think, I don't know, I don't have the data to back this up, but I'm pretty sure that there's one side that's kind of does this more egregiously than others. So, like, if you look at the demographics of Illinois or California or Massachusetts, some of those others, those states, they have like zero conservative representation. Everything is progressive, liberal.
Oh wow!
Right?
So they have like 100% lock on some states.
Yes, 100% lock.
I didn't know that.
And there's like at least a dozen states, I think, that have zero red districts. Everything is blue.
Wow.
And that doesn't seem like, just any normal person looking at that can kind of think like, I bet that there is probably enough conservatives in the state to have some form of representation, even just one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all that aside, back to the Supreme Court decision. They did something. I don't remember exactly what the decision was. It was something about like restricting race as being something. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what it was. But anyways, Texas took this and they're like, okay, we're going to redraw our lines taking this into consideration. And the proposed map would turn, I think, 5 House of Representative seats or something into, they would flip them from blue to being likely red.
Now, is this house like national house, or is this house like state house?
I believe it's the House of Representatives, like what representatives you send to National Congress.
Oh, okay. I was under the impression it was affecting the state legislature and their numbers. But either way, I mean, representative.
Maybe it is, but yeah, you might be right. I have a couple of different maps floating around in my head right now. I'd have to go look it up. But regardless, I don't know if it's national or state. You may be right. But regardless, it would flip a few seats from red to blue. And So
Or
there is a law.
blue to red, because the red's in power at the moment.
Blue to red.
Yeah.
Sorry, my apologies. There's a law in Texas where there's 150, whatever map it is, it's being redrawn by the Texas House of Representatives, by the Texas State House of Representatives. And there's 150 members, if I remember correctly. And there is a law, or at least procedural law. I don't know what weight it is, whether it's just procedural or actual like law. But you have to have 2/3 quorum before you can cast a vote on anything.
Mm-hmm.
So 51 Democrats have they have not only just not shown up to work, but they have fled the state because there are ways that if they were in the state, they could be compelled to come back. But if they're out of state, right, like then it takes greater effort to pull them back.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they're in state, you just go grab them by the collar and drag them in and say, all right, vote. Here you go. So if they're not there, they're not there. So are they going to arrest them? Have any arrests been made? What's the plan? What's the future look like?
So yeah, there is. So it started out with fining them $500 a day. And the absolute tone deaf silly thing that they did is the bulk of them, if not all of them, fled to Illinois over gerrymandering. And it's like, you're fleeing from Texas to the state that is arguably the worst gerrymandered state in all of the 50 states.
Well, they get the Chicago political machine is there, so there's probably money involved and other things going on.
There's that, and I can't help but notice that Mr. J.B. Pritzker is taking up most of the frame in every single news conference about this. He loves his time in the spotlight, and him being a billionaire personally, he's probably footing the bill for a bunch of this stuff just to get himself on TV more. That doofus. But
so are they going to do a vote without them? Are they going to like abdicate their throne?
They can't by law do anything without them. So not only have they have those at least 51 representatives fled the state and kept this vote from happening, but they've kept other legislation from happening, like something like we just had a massive flood up in Kerrville, right?
Yeah.
And so like there's disaster relief measures that need to be considered and voted on. And those can't be because all of those folks fled the state. So it's not just about the gerrymandering thing. It's actually you're grinding necessary work to a halt because you're acting like petulant children. Because you're going to lose discussing.
Are there fail-safes involved where like if they don't show up, like replace them, or they just don't count, and so now we're one less in the vote, or what do they have?
I don't know specifics. I do know that there is a way that they can be lose their job, right? Like if you don't show up to work, you lose your job. That's just the way it works.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently not in government. You can just refuse to show up for days, if not weeks, and still have a job. But there is a way of doing that. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. I do know that there is precedent for this dereliction of duty to be leveraged into a a felony. It can be turned into a felony. So they do face serious repercussions, but honestly, I'd be surprised if anything ever happens because it always feels like.
Well, I won't hold my breath because it usually seems like it's just political theater for a couple of weeks and then it goes back to status quo. So.
Yup. Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of political theater, did you see what was going on in DC? With remember when Doge was going around sniffing around trying to cut all the corruption with all the different like USAID and stuff, and one of the Doge people would log in with their login big balls or their screen name big balls. Did you hear what happened to big balls this week?
I've seen pictures and I've heard a little bit, but I don't know a whole lot of it.
I'll tell you what. Let's go ask my friend Grok, because Grok has the latest of everything. I think he was trying to stop a girl from getting carjacked, but let me ask, dear Grok, tell me what happened to big balls of Doge fame. Spill the tea. All right. Grok is thinking. Edward Korstein. Is that how you say that? Edward Korstein, 19-year-old, nicknamed Big Balls, from his time with Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, also known as Doge, stirred up plenty of buzz before exiting the spotlight. Joining Doge, controversial Trump administration, blah, blah, blah. Come on, get to the good stuff. The real drama hit when he was attacked in Washington, D.C. during an attempted carjacking.
Oh, it was a carjacking.
Yeah, reports say he stepped in to protect a woman, possibly his partner, from a group of teens. He ended up bloodied with a concussion and lost teeth. Two 15-year-olds were arrested, but Musk and Trump spun the story hard, with Musk claiming Korstein, aka Big Balls, heroically fought off a dozen attackers, and Trump is using the incident to push for federal control of D.C., despite crime rates dropping 35% total in all in 2024. Some X/Twitter posts are calling him a hero, while others are downplaying it, saying he just got beat up on a date. That's not fair. I mean, come on.
He just got what? Beat up on a date?
Beat up on a date. That was
That
from
sounds like spin of the stuff that happened in Los Angeles. It's just people out having fun watching cars burn, or mostly peaceful protests.
But yeah, I saw the picture, and that dude he got messed up. It was bad.
Yeah.
But we send our condolences to Big Balls. We hope you get well soon, and you did good, kid.
Good on him for stepping up.
Yeah, totally. Well, I think that's all the time we have for today, so we need to wrap this up. Is there anything you want to tell the people out there in the fourth dimension?
Just have a good day. Keep your chin up.
Yeah, to stay away from carjackers if you can. Don't lose your teeth. All right. We'll see you guys later.
Like, share, and subscribe. Time circuits. Activate. This is great. We could do this for hours, man. Just riff on stuff, and and halfway through, I'm like, it's just about the art of the segue.
Yeah.